My guest today is Shawn Harper. Shawn is a former NFL offensive lineman with the Rams, the Colts, and NFL Europe. He is a Hall of Fame inductee at NIACC and was drafted to the NFL from Indiana University, where he earned a degree in criminal justice and sociology. If this all sounds impressive, wait till you hear his backstory. Shawn grew up with five siblings in a single parent household. After divorce plunged his family into poverty. He's failing in school due to learning disabilities and a stutter. He was an average football player and voted most likely to fail. He was on his road to becoming just another inner city statistic when instead he chose to start a new journey and shifted his mindset to that of a winner. The rest, as they say, is history. He made it to the NFL. He learned he wasn't disabled, rather, as he likes to say it, uniquely enabled. He now travels the world doing live and virtual events, helping people unlock their full potential by sharing his steps for envisioning and then living your dream. He's made it his mission to help others and equip them with the mindset, playing to win. He's the author of two books, The Winning Edge, 8 Principles That Will Bring Out the Winner in You, and The Winologist, From the Locker Room to the Boardroom. Shawn's story and how he went from having everybody around him tell him that he was kidding himself if he thought the NFL was possible, that he wasn't fast or slow, he was too slow, not fast enough, not strong enough. It really inspired me that he could go from there to saying, no, I'm going to do it, follow my dream. And he did it. And I'm really looking forward to hearing some of his tips and strategies for his principles for the mindset. He walked the walk, he did it. Looking forward to him sharing some of that winning strategy with us. So, as I was saying in your introduction, they said you were dumb, learning disability, football, not quick enough, not strong enough, you're failing in school. Then you got this flash of insight where you connected to this feeling inside you that said not to accept what other people were saying. You spoke your dream. And I mean, my gosh, you were in the NFL when you were voted most likely to fail. Tell me your story.
Well, rule number one, never allow people to create your world because they'll always create it too small. And that's extremely important that you refute people's expectations unless they're amazingly positive. You kind of need to refute people's words and expectations because it only takes a little piece of you to believe a lie, like that movie, The Lion King, and it will send you on a journey trying to prove who you already are, what you already are. And I made a decision that I am a winner. And the way I was able to come to that decision was dealing with the adversities, dealing with being called stupid and dumb. I remember repeating the first grade. And it was such an embarrassing moment. And all the students are lined up in the first grade, and the students lined up in the second grade. And I've already made it through the first grade. I'm in the second grade line, and the teacher pulls my hand, or she pulls me back into the first grade line. And by the time I'm in the fifth grade, I'm documented with like 4 to 5 learning disabilities. And let me just stop right there. I don't consider myself disabled. I consider myself now uniquely enabled, but it was a process. It's always a process of becoming. And that actually, along with some other challenges, drove me not to be a bad boy, but to be a mad boy. I was very angry, so much so that I was kicked out of 2 schools, almost 3 schools for disciplinary issues. I left high school with a 1.62 cumulative GPA, not on my ACT, voted most likely to fail. I go off to a junior college. The coach wants me to come play football in Iowa, and I can understand why, because I'm horrible in football. I wasn't even, honorable mention all conference. And here I am up, being asked to go play football in the cornfields. It was crazy. In the first year at that junior college, I sat the bench the entire season. And going into the second year, I had an actual conversation. And the conversation is that, you know what? I can't be successful. I don't have what it takes to be successful. But
somebody told you that, the conversation?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I said, but I can win. And the moment I said I can win, I began to see problems as possibilities obstacles as opportunities. I begin to configure life a little differently. And I now,
The,
you go ahead.
instead of all the conversations, what do I want? Like you focus on the win.
Well, 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 it's not just what you want, it's what you are.
Hmm.
You see, people in life, you know, people rarely get what you want. You only, you can only really maintain what you are. There has to be a little bit in you for it to align and to be attracted to you. You're attracted to your dreams. You're pursuing your dreams, but on a subatomic level, a metaphysical level, wherever you want to call it, your dreams are pursuing you,
Hmm.
right? Because it's in you. There's a little bit in you it needs to connect with, right?
Plus,
So
they
that's either
need
good or
good,
bad. Huh?
and they need NFL football players like you. You're helping somebody else. Like the thing you just mentioned is the universe is attracting you because it has a purpose for you, a
Yeah,
calling. Like,
yeah, yeah. And I'm just going to flow with you, okay? Because the more you get, the more you gain clarity into what you want and where you want to go, the stronger the force the other way pulls to you.
mm,
It's like I want to do X, Y, Z. And it's not only in here, more deeper, it's in here. And the moment you make that switch and it's in your heart, you now pursue it, but it's also pursuing you.
so tell me about that feeling, because a lot of people, myself included, have this idea of a feeling, or intuition. That was strong in you, right? When you made the decision?
To ascension to what, make it into the NFL.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. it,
What did that feel like?
it was it was it was like a pulsating urge. Now here's where it gets kind of crazy at, because although it was there was a part of me that didn't believe it. There was a part of me that was like, nah, it's out of my reach. And I know I'm speaking to a lot of people out there that have that. It's like there is a dichotomy between what your mind says and what your heart says.
Right.
You have to make a difference, or you have to make a choice. Are you going to follow your heart, or are you going to follow your mind?
Just speaking of which, so once you made the decision, you had the feeling, you knew that you want to win. So you summarized very simply to win. Forget about the conversations and the other little. It wasn't easy though.
No, it's not only want to win. I want to win because I am a winner. Okay. I am a winner. No, it's not easy. And guess what? It's always progressing. And it's so amazing because God takes layer after layer after layer off of you of doubt, unbelief, offense, rejection, abandonment, pain, abuse. He just takes, in each layer he takes off of you, the stronger and the more clear that force from you exudes. And the stronger it exudes, the more it attracts.
So you just got to take that first step.
You got to take the first step, and in this every day class, listen to me. This is so important. Your audience, you have to get this. Every day, class is in session. You have to be a student of life in every aspect of it, and you have to be able to listen. I was about 3 days ago, I was at this hotel. I never go to a hotel to watch football games, but the Renaissance Hotel. I don't want to go. But you know what? I'm going to go to this hotel and watch football game. And I'm sitting there watching this football game. And these older ladies, they're like in their 70s, they come up, and they start talking to me. And then one of them breaks protocol, and she starts talking, but I could tell that it wasn't her talking. Something was talking through her, and I heard it.
What was it?
But had my mind been locked on to, hey, this is what I'm doing, I'm watching the game, I can't be distracted, I'm focused, get away from me, I would have missed it. I would have missed it.
What was she saying?
She was telling me that she daggone near told me that I have a responsibility to minister or to speak and to encourage elite people, but even more common people and people who are underprivileged, people who have missed out on life, people who may be homeless. He said, you have a calling to minister to every single sect. Do not focus on one group. Everybody, the world is your congregation. Stop playing, stop trying to figure out how to monetize it, and get out there and do it.
Which is nice, Sean, because some people that I coach, I explain to them, you know what, your dream isn't just about you. You're stuck on it because it's like you're thinking it's about you. When you think of the people you can help in the bigger picture, things become a lot easier, right?
Yeah, 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 it does.
So you have a free ebook on your website, which will be in the show notes. The Winning Edge, learn 8 principles that will bring out the winner in you.
Yeah.
What's one or two of them, the most important ones?
The most uh the most important one is, and let me just back up and set this up for a second, okay?
Sure.
I've learned to live my life not by rules, but by laws. And that our world, our universe is governed by spiritual laws. And it doesn't matter if you know the law or not. If you break the law is going to break you. Period. End of discussion. My mom taught me that when we were young and my father left, and she prayed. She said, God, how am I going to make it? And God said, if you give $20 to the poor every month, I will always take care of you. And that set me on a journey to understand these laws. So one of my most favorite laws is the law of 212. And what that means is that water is water at 211 degrees. But at 212 degrees, water boils. And that 1 degree of extra has changed the world. Boiling water has changed the world. You are to live your life as much as possible in the 212. Never get comfortable, because if you're not careful, your comfort zone will become your casket, right? So you always push to the 212. Now, here's where it flows into what you do. 99% of people can't get into the 212 because you need someone else to pull it out of you, push it out of you, antagonize it out of you. In other words, you need a coach. You have to have a coach to push you into the 212. And a coach can see what you can't see. They're not easily impressed with you. They're going to push you till you puke. But that's how you make it to the 212 and live your life by the 212.
Nice. I like the boiling water example.
Yeah,
You're 1 degree from success, one
one
degree
degree.
from the NFL. Like one
Yeah,
moment you don't have a job, the next you're playing for the NFL.
yep.
You just have to focus on what you want, your dream, and then understand it's bigger than you.
It is so much. And you have mentioned that twice, right?
Hmm.
Heard you both times on how it's so much bigger to, so much larger than you. And that is the antithesis or the opposite or the polar opposite of how our Western culture is set up. And it is, having it my way, having the FaceTime, having the me and my selfies and all about me. It will
Hmm.
it will fill you, but it won't fulfill you. In other words, a spiritual law is that it doesn't stick to you if it can't get through you. And
Yeah, you pay your rent, but you're depressed. And there's a lot
yeah,
of suicidal people and unhappy people because they do what they do to need to pay their rent, but and they forget about their dream.
right, right. And so many people, just like you mentioned, are just, depressed or unfilled. And and fulfilling is congruent with nature, right? So you have an apple, the seed is in the apple. As the apple becomes unselfish, as the apple dies, the seeds are released. It reproduces.
Hmm.
That's what we have been created to do. As we die to ourselves and as we become selfless versus selfish, we die, and then the seeds to volunteer, to give, to forgive, to release, to bless, it comes out of us and it reproduces. And that's how we get fulfilled.
Nice. One of the things I noticed in your video and you speaking about was when you had your dream, you spoke it out loud, you let people know about it, and then, of course, people said that's impossible. You're not fast enough, strong enough to be in the NFL and so forth. How do you, because I think it's real important for people to just shed people around them that don't support their dream, just negative, and surround themselves with people that do. That's a pretty difficult situation you're in and a pretty long shot of a dream. What tip can you give somebody when they're just surrounded by negativity that's not possible to, you know what, I can't hang out with you anymore. I got to have some new friends. How do you do that? How did you do that?
You know, I wish I could say that was easy. That is
It's not.
that is so hard. But you have to understand, everyone can't go.
Like that.
It, it's like the space shuttle, right? And as the space shuttle, the space shuttle goes up and, it gets so high in the air and then it releases it, right boosters release and the left boosters release. And then the other boosters kick in. What got you here can't get you there. Go right. So
Right.
everyone can't go. People are in your life for a season and they're in your life for a reason. And this is such a tough lesson. This was a tough lesson for me. I had to learn it because, I'm not the best in transition. Okay. I'm not the best at that. I'm learning to become very good at that. But yeah.
And you were surrounded by some really bad characters, it sounds like. Your school probably, it sounded like there were some gangs around you that you might have been getting involved with or
Oh yeah.
attracted to.
Yeah.
Bad people.
What helped me honestly is that, I went to junior college or I went to Indiana and I went to the NFL. I kept moving.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Extraction. I
yeah,
call
yeah,
it an extraction. Get
yeah,
yourself out of the situation.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I love that word that you're using because people, you might have to extract yourself. You might not be able to, to do it all the time, but you have to pull yourself back. Or you have to re-surround yourself with other people of where you're going.
Hmm.
You have to. Yeah.
Mentors, people that are as good of you. So it's still a tough road. You have the
Yes.
mindset. You remember what Sean and Daniel are speaking of. It's bigger than you. It's a higher it's for everybody. But
Mhm.
there's going to be setbacks. You clearly have setbacks trying to get in the NFL or whatever you're doing. How did you, what's a tip or your strategy for, just getting beat up? How do you keep going? What do you tell yourself? Or how do you do it?
Well, it's not a setback.
Hmm.
It's tuition. It's course correction. You have to have it. You have to have that. And that's what, and I don't want to get in trouble here, but I'm going to get in trouble here. That's what I don't like about our educational system.
Oh, you can't get in trouble for that. My other guests who have been career planners in school, they flat out say the system was built for when Model Ts for Ford had to have more educated people for
Okay,
workers. It's
exactly.
totally outdated. So
Okay.
everybody
Yeah.
agrees with that.
So, so F, the failure is final in our educational system. You got an F. Oh, bad you. You might need some help. Let's move on. What did you learn with that? My son, right? It's a true story. He would get an F, and then I would just go off like, and then he was like, Dad, I can take it and correct it and bring it back, and I get half credit for it. I was so mad. But I realized the psychology behind that is that it is consciously and subconsciously teaching you that failure is an opportunity. Failure is not final. And that it's teaching you how to course correct, how to look at failure, move through failure, and then to make corrections and move forward from there. And so learning how to course correct, yeah, and to be able to take the sting away from failure is absolutely essential to have a winning mindset and to be a winner.
So how do you know when, you sometimes you want to try twice. before, at least I do, before I get the message. No, Daniel, you're not supposed to go that way. It takes twice. Is that kind of something you just feel out, or do the saying, don't do the same thing twice, expect to be successful? Because sometimes you do. It's a learning to just do something better, but
Yeah.
not change course, right?
Well, I'm glad Elon Musk didn't give up.
Right.
You know, I mean, who'd have thought about putting thousands of satellites in the air for, just to have their own uh, messaging system and spaceships going up like every other week and having a daggone electric car. And I'm glad Thomas Edison, didn't give up. And I'm glad that
Right.
Mr. Tesla, he didn't give up, although they stole all his stuff, but he didn't give up. Yeah, it's essential. It's a part of it. So your question, what I heard was, when is enough, and I believe enough is enough is when there's no more lessons to be learned.
Hmm. Or I just got the idea was to focus on the winning, your goal. And then even if you hit it twice, it doesn't work. You're still your eyes on the prize, right? So then you will automatically shift course, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
course correct. Yep.
So anything else? Key principles?
Yeah. Let's just stay in the arena of failure, right? Um, Another thing that I do is I look back at my past failures and I recast my story, right? It's my story. So it was no, it wasn't a fail. It was because of this and this and this and this and this. And then it lessens the actual pain and the hurt of that. Okay, that's number one. Number two is that you have to have what's called persistence through resistance. That's how you learn how to ride a bicycle. You learn how to ride a bike by falling off that bike. You fell off that bike, you were embarrassed, everyone laughed, but you got back on that daggone bike. And that is my encouragement for everyone out here is get back on the bike. You gotta keep getting back on that bike. That's how you learn how to walk. You learn how to walk by getting back on the bike. Do you know why I'm doing this podcast right now? I'm doing this podcast right now because in COVID, when COVID hit, I lost 99% of all my engagements were gone in 48 hours. I lost so much of my influence and finances and all of that to now, guess what? I could just said, I'm done. I could do the towel away. I could just walked away. And then this whole, what the heck is Zoom? And I started messing with Zoom and I'm
Yeah.
moving and it's like, no, it's like persistence through resistance and you make adjustments and you win.
Hmm. Yeah, that was hard for a lot of speakers, the
It
COVID.
was
All of a
tough.
sudden, zero business, and it took about 2 years and lost a lot of people.
Yeah,
And the people that survived, yeah, the
yeah,
people to watch. Yeah.
yeah.
So tell me about your school program, because you have, I don't know if it's
How'd you know about my school programs? Wow,
I respect you being on my show, Shawn. That's
I
great to
can
have you.
see
I
that, but
looked you
you
up.
digging
Yeah.
up. I'm
Yeah.
like, I feel like I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody.
I want to ask
That's
you the
awesome.
important questions, man. It's a
Yeah,
big, I mean, your stories, really the moment I saw your video that was it was it's on YouTube. You have a YouTube
mm,
channel, it'll be in the show notes, but I'm like, wow. I mean, and then I saw the picture of you actually buffed and running and training. I'm like, seriously. And it was called most likely to fail, not strong enough and fast enough. I mean, how
yeah,
much better does it get? Success story. So anyway, yeah, Shawn has he does leadership and for schools program on personal development and life coaching.
yes.
So tell me about
How
that because it's kind
many?
of national, right? You do it
Yeah,
all
oh
over.
yeah, yeah. It's national. It's like international. I'm I'm driven by this. Usually I love to be led, but this drives me. And what drives me is how many other Shawn Harpers are there? I was the kid in the back of all the assemblies, making noise, falling asleep in class, goofing off, stuttered my entire life, couldn't complete a sentence till college. And you heard my story. I don't have to go back
Mhm.
and do it again. Was bullied. I bullied people as well. A throwaway. And how many other Shawn Harpers are out there?
Yeah.
There's a future NFL player out there, right? I mean, I
Hmm.
started high school football, but there's a future NBA star, there's a future CEO, there's a future world changer, military, artist,
Hmm.
musician. They're there, locked away under the chains of unbelief and self-hatred. They're out
Yeah.
there. And unlike when I was growing up, we had more of a positive influence in our neighborhoods. We had aunts and uncles and nosy neighbors. People kind of cared
Yeah.
about you.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
everybody's here on their phone, looking at socials, and no one cares about it. I'm like, man, I have to do this. I'm driven by that.
So is there something like the school anywhere want to reach out to you where they can get
Oh,
engaged with
yes.
your
Oh, man.
program?
My website is well, actually that
It'll be in
QR
the show
code,
notes.
that QR code right there on that screen has all of my information.
Okay.
I need to move that, but yeah, I'm
Because I
with it.
think it's really important to get the kids. Once they get so old, they get embedded. They've got to pay the mortgage. They have kids of their own. Um, I mean, I know people that complain about as an adult, I don't get any help, you know, or I've got to help kids that I don't know how to help. Or, what I'm trying to say is it's very important to reach people when they're young.
Yeah, yeah. So what I'm going to end up doing, just based off of what you just said, is I think I'm going to open up. I believe I am. I'm going to, I do maybe 100 so school assemblies like every year or a year or two all over the country. Got a special price for them. But I'm also going to open up a portion of my website to have resources on there,
Hmm. Nice.
just motivational resources, suicide prevention, just a clearinghouse and a plethora of information out there to just, say, here's a lifeline. You can do it. You're on the internet anyway. Take a look at these resources.
And then we'll have a bake sale so we can raise money to fly Sean here and hire him as a speaker to give
Yeah,
a real
yeah,
presentation. Yeah.
heck yeah, that's fine. Or there's something else I'm juggling around. If there's someone out there that does, well, you know what? Don't worry about it. Gotta take care of me. Just I will show up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll work itself out.
Yes.
So looking back, how does it feel to have been voted most likely to fail and now you're an NFL alumni and so
You know
forth?
what? Man, I'm sharing a lot of personal stuff with you. Like super personal. It's I have to bless them. I mean, it feels great. I have a load of responsibility now. I have to walk a little different. I have to carry myself a little different because so much is writing on my words. But I tell you what I had to do in all of this is that I had to forgive a lot of people.
Mm.
And I had to say to myself, which is really deep, I had to say to myself, okay, you did it. What's next? Because a part of me was still trying to do it. I'm gonna be the best. I'm gonna do it. You've done it. You can rest now.
Be nice to yourself.
Huh?
Be nice to yourself.
Be nice to yourself. Now, what else are you supposed to do? You've done it now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Which led you into the speaking and the high school
No, no,
programs. Oh,
no. This was recently. I was still doing that, but now it's like, okay, you've done it now.
I see.
Now, what else do I need to do, God?
What's next for you? Has is it been have you got clarity on that yet?
Yeah, well, I I do a lot of I I do a lot of unofficial coaching, but now I'm about to put it all together. Uh, I got a platform. I'm about to go head first into just calling the king out of the kid of so many people, just to unlock greatness in warriors.
Did you just
I
make
just
that up, or is it one calling the king out of the kid? I like that
I've used
one.
that
Okay.
a few times before, but yeah, it's now it's the crowds are great, but just give me a few people like, okay, boom, I'm gonna unlock this person. God used me to unlock this, to see this in you, challenge you, and push you to the next level. I feel that. Uh,
Nice.
yeah.
And
So if you
so,
got any tips on that, yeah, send them my way on coaching.
oh, I do a lot of the basically unpaid coaching too. You want to help everybody. And like you said, in the end, it'll work itself out. And then you get the big clients or the people who have the money and it works itself out, Sean, right?
Yeah,
If someone's maybe we already covered this. We talked about a lot of kids too, but take an adult or person of any age, they're feeling stuck and they're struggling. And oh, I know what I want to ask you is, what if you don't know it's the NFL, but you know I'm not happy and it's because I know there's something else. I don't normally use the word God, but we're on the same page with that a little bit. So I'll say, well, God has a bigger purpose than me working as a cashier here and at the drugstore. And I'm fine with the cashier job, but I know there's something bigger. I don't know what it is. It's not the NFL. I'm not fast and strong. Any ideas for them how they could tap into what it
yeah.
is?
So you have to strip the chains and the constraints. So, like example, if money wasn't an issue, if fame and fortune wasn't an issue, if prestige wasn't an issue, what would you do? It's
Mhm.
like I would be a missionary. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's or that's one way. The second way is you got to go back. You got to go back to where you still had dreams. You know, when I would do school assemblies, right, the elementary kids would be fired up, like, dreams. I'm gonna do great things. And then the middle and high school kids would be so refined, like, I'm like, oh my God,
What happened?
they broke the dream. They broke the dream. When my son, because so I homeschool my son to like the fifth grade, right? And I put him in this prestigious school. Like the third day, he came home crying and he said something. Oh, and it broke my heart to this day. He said, Dad, they're trying to kill my creativity. I can feel it. I can't
At
create.
least he was sensitive enough to know that, tune
They're
into it.
trying to kill it, Dad. They're trying to kill it. And I'm like, going it. So you got to go back to where it's safe and say, what is my dream? Dig it up, rehash it, rebirth it, and move in it.
And speak it. You were clear on that in your video. Speak it out loud. Tell people
Speak it,
this is it.
talk to it, declare it.
And the more
Yes,
crazy it is, the more I love it. And the more crazy,
yes,
I don't want a mediocre dream. Like if I was God, I'd say, what kind of dream is that? Like in building the car, do you want a jalopy or a Ferrari or whatever you're building? Like
mm,
dream big. I know it's
that's
cliche
right.
saying, but
Huge.
or whatever your dream is, it can be a small dream too. Whatever it is, and you speak it. And people one thing I've seen is the naysayers are the ones afraid to follow their dream, like afraid to try to get in the NFL and maybe even
Yeah.
faster than you,
Or,
right?
or the naysayers are the ones who don't believe they can achieve it, or they hate themselves because they didn't go for it.
Right.
And their success is reflecting on their perception of their personal failure.
Hmm. And if you want to save them, save yourself first, because what I've seen is when you do what other people are afraid to do, like climbing Mount Everest. Now, everyone climbs it if they have enough money. But the first person that climbed it, everyone said, you're going to die. The altitude's too high. You can't breathe up there and so
Right.
forth. As soon as one person does it, like probably in the NFL, right? As soon as they say that record of a number of passes or seasons or whatever it is that's hard to break, it can't be broken, right? Like running a mile under.
Yeah.
And as soon as somebody runs the mile, then everybody else does it. Everybody
Yep.
follows their dream. World becomes a happier place, right?
Trendsetter. You could take, you know what? There, there are people, there are people who are called to be the trendsetters, and they take a lot of lashes. They take a lot of criticism. They take a lot of rejection, but they are the tip of the spear. They are like it, like perfect example,
Mm-hmm.
Tiger Woods. His father experienced so much racism when he was trying to play golf and, doing this. And, I mean, he was the tip of the spear, and he paved the way for his son. He said, now, where I stop, you're going to explode it.
Yeah. So what's next for you, Shawn? You said coaching. I did notice, and this will be in the show notes, you have a couple different websites. One for your speaking, like probably to corporations, I guess, and your other one is one-on-one coaching with people. That's the one you're trying to
Yeah.
develop.
So it's like already up. I already coach unofficially by invite only.
Okay.
But now I'm going to open this thing up and just put my energy into coaching people practically full time. I'll have maybe a course or this and that. I mean, I have all the stuff up now,
Hmm.
but I've never flipped the switch. And I'm about to turn the switch on and say, you know what? This is what I do. Because,
Don't be confused, listeners, right? It's not coaching literally to be an NFL or football player. It's coach to follow your dream and the mindset. Shawn calls himself the winologist, right? Like how to
winologist.
win. Yeah.
Yeah.
How to
Yeah.
win, follow your dream, and do whatever you want to do for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it right there.
Anything else you want to add? We haven't talked about.
Well, you know what? I live my life on three words, right? It's live, give, and forgive. That's it. Live, give, and forgive. And I'll just focus on the living aspect of it right now. Okay. The living aspect is that so many people in Western culture, we spend so much energy trying to develop momentum, right? We develop, I got to get this and this next meeting and this next deal, this next opportunity, momentum, right? But what happens oftentimes is that we lose the moment. And I'm learning, and I'm still learning that if you take care of the moment, if you're present in the moment, the momentum takes care of itself. And what happens is that you live your life in so much momentum that you neglect the present, that the present becomes the past. And then you get to a certain age in life where you begin to live in the past. Then you're still not living in the moment. You just a lot of regret and pain there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you have to maximize the moment, live, maximize your moment, give the attention and your energy to the moment and let the momentum take care of itself.
That's probably something you learned in sports, right? Because if your attention is not on the game, on the ball, on the play, anywhere else, you're done with, right?
Yeah. They call it focus, you know.
Yeah.
You
Uh,
know. But
which makes me have to focus to think about what focus means instead of just stay
yeah,
here. Where'd you
but
go? Stay here. Yeah.
but I like your word that we talked about just
Yeah.
now is attention. It's because now it's not just this, it's all of this.
Yep.
It's your heart, it's your emotion, it's everything. I'm present. Yeah.
Yep. I've been speaking with Shawn Harper. His website is ShawnHarperWins.com. Calls himself the Winologist. There's a free ebook on his website, The Winning Edge. Learn 8 principles that will bring out the winner of you. Details are in my show notes. If your organization or company is planning an event, he's available as a speaker and also one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
Shawn, thanks for so much for being on my show.
And you know what? Thank you. you have such a calming energy about yourself. I mean, I can't even get fired up around trying to get like, but I can't, right? I'm just like, yeah. Just
Well, you
like,
know what? A lot of people have done that. Tony Robbins does it. I'm kind of like, well, it's nice for a moment and then it wears off and you're like,
it does, it
well,
does, it
yeah.
does, it does, it does, it does, it does, it does. I mean, hey, you're right. So, yeah, I'm in the Zen. I'm Zen with you. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Shawn. Have a great day.
All right. You be blessed. All right. Bye bye.